Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here today. Whether you're watching this while sipping your morning coffee, taking a break from work, or winding down after a long day, I want you to know that this message is meant specifically for you. If you've clicked on this video, chances are you're in a season of waiting. And let me tell you, I understand exactly how that feels. You know that feeling when you've prayed about something for months, maybe even years, and it seems like heaven has gone silent, when everyone around you seems to be moving forward while you're stuck in the same place. When you wake up each morning hoping today will be different, but by nightfall, nothing has changed. Yeah, I've been there too. And if that's where you are right now, I want you to lean in close, because what I'm about to share might just change your entire perspective on waiting. Here's the truth that took me years to understand. When Jesus says wait, he's not punishing you, he's not ignoring you, he's not playing favorites with someone else. When Jesus says wait, he's actually doing something incredible. He's making you stronger. Think about it this way. Waiting seasons aren't parking lots where we sit idle. They're spiritual gyms where God is building muscles in us that we didn't even know we needed. Let me paint you a picture. Have you ever watched someone at the gym holding a plank position? From the outside, it looks like they're not doing anything. They're just there, static, unmoving. But ask anyone who's held a plank for more than 30 seconds, and they'll tell you that every muscle in their body is working overtime. Their core is strengthening, their endurance is building, their mental toughness is developing. That's exactly what's happening in your waiting season. You might feel stagnant, but God is doing a deep work in you. I remember talking to my friend Sarah last year. She'd been waiting for a breakthrough in her career for 3 years. 3 years. She'd applied for promotion after promotion, watched younger colleagues advance past her, and felt like God had forgotten her address. She told me, "I feel like I'm wasting my life. Everyone else is living their dreams, and I'm stuck in the same cubicle doing the same work." But here's what happened. During those 3 years of waiting, Sarah developed skills she never would have pursued if she'd gotten that first promotion. She learned patience in dealing with difficult co-workers. She discovered how to find joy in ordinary moments. She built relationships that became more valuable than any job title. And when her breakthrough finally came, it wasn't just a promotion, it was an opportunity that required every single skill she developed during her wait. The position she eventually received was far better than anything she'd originally applied for. But here's the kicker. She wouldn't have been ready for it 3 years earlier. The waiting wasn't wasted time, it was preparation time. This reminds me of something Jesus did with his own disciples. Remember when Lazarus was sick? Mary and Martha sent word to Jesus, basically saying, "Lord, your friend is dying. Come quickly." And what did Jesus do? He waited. He stayed where he was for 2 more days. Can you imagine the confusion, the frustration? Here's the Son of God who could heal with a word, and he's choosing to wait while his friend suffers. But Jesus knew something Mary and Martha didn't. He wasn't being cruel or indifferent. He was setting the stage for something greater. When he finally arrived and raised Lazarus from the dead, it wasn't just about healing a sick man anymore. It was about displaying the glory of God in a way that would strengthen the faith of everyone who witnessed it. The waiting transformed a healing into a resurrection. The delay turned a good story into a God story. See, we often think waiting is about God preparing our circumstances, but more often than not, it's about God preparing us. We want God to change our situation, but God wants to change us in our situation. We're asking for a different gym, but God's saying, no, you need to work out in this one a little longer. Think about Joseph in the Old Testament, sold into slavery by his brothers, falsely accused, thrown into prison. Talk about a waiting room. 13 years passed between his dreams and their fulfillment. 13 years. That's longer than most of us are willing to wait for anything. But during those 13 years, God was transforming a spoiled teenager into a leader who could save nations. The arrogance had to be worked out. The wisdom had to be worked in. The character had to be built brick by brick, day by day, disappointment by disappointment. And here's something we often miss. Joseph's story shows us that God's delays are not denials. Just because God hasn't answered yet doesn't mean he's said no. It might just mean he's saying, "Not yet, because I'm preparing something better than what you're asking for." I know what some of you are thinking right now. That's great for Joseph and Sarah, but what about me? How do I handle this waiting when it hurts so much? Let me share some practical ways to not just survive your waiting season, but to thrive in it. First, change your perspective on time. We live in a microwave society where everything is instant. Instant coffee, instant messages, instant gratification. But God operates on crock-pot timing. Slow cooking, low and slow. The flavors that develop in a crock-pot meal could never happen in a microwave. The same is true for what God is developing in you. Some things can't be rushed. Some strengths can only be developed over time. Second, look for what God is doing in you, not just for you. Keep a journal. Write down the small changes you notice in yourself. Maybe you're becoming more patient. Maybe you're learning to trust when you can't see. Maybe you're developing empathy for others who are struggling. These internal changes are often more valuable than the external breakthrough you're waiting for. Third, use your waiting season to serve others. I know it sounds counterintuitive. When you're barely holding it together, the last thing you want to do is pour into someone else. But here's what I've discovered. When we serve others in our pain, something miraculous happens. Our perspective shifts, our strength grows, our faith deepens. Some of the strongest people I know became strong not in spite of their waiting seasons, but because of how they chose to live during them. Let me tell you about Tom. Tom waited 7 years for God to restore his marriage. 7 years of praying, hoping, working on himself and seeing no change in his spouse. But during those 7 years, Tom became a mentor to other men struggling in their marriages. He started a support group at his church. He learned to love unconditionally. He discovered joy that wasn't dependent on his circumstances. When reconciliation finally came, Tom wasn't the same man who had started praying 7 years earlier. He was stronger, wiser, more compassionate. The waiting had transformed him into the husband his marriage needed him to be. Fourth, remember that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't feel like it. We see in part, but God sees the whole picture. We see today, but God sees how today connects to tomorrow and next year and the rest of our lives. What feels like a delay to us might be perfect timing in God's economy. I think about Abraham and Sarah waiting for a child. 25 years they waited. 25 years, can you imagine? Every month hoping, every month disappointed, watching friends and family have children, grandchildren even, while their arms remained empty. But God's delay had a purpose. Isaac wasn't just meant to be Abraham's son, he was meant to be a pivotal figure in God's plan for humanity. The timing had to be right, not just for Abraham and Sarah, but for the entire trajectory of human history. Your waiting might feel personal, and it is, but it's also part of a bigger picture that you can't see yet. God is weaving your story into His greater story, and sometimes that requires waiting for other pieces to fall into place. Fifth, don't wait alone. We weren't meant to do this life solo. Find people who will wait with you, pray with you, encourage you when you want to give up. Some of my deepest friendships were forged in waiting rooms, both literal and metaphorical. There's something about shared struggle that bonds hearts together. And finally, keep talking to God, even when it feels like He's not listening. Pour out your frustration, your disappointment, your questions. He can handle it. The Psalms are full of David basically saying, "God, what are you doing? Why is this taking so long? Have you forgotten about me?" But notice, David kept talking to God. He didn't let the silence make him silent. He pressed in harder. Here's what I want you to understand. Your waiting season is not a detour from your purpose. It's preparation for your purpose. The strength you're building right now, the faith you're developing, the character that's being forged, these are not consolation prizes. They're the main event. The thing you're waiting for, that's just the cherry on top. You see, we often think of waiting as passive, but biblical waiting is incredibly active. It's not sitting on the couch hoping something happens. It's actively trusting, actively growing, actively preparing for what's coming. It's doing the next right thing even when you can't see the big picture. It's showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing faith over fear, hope over despair, trust over control. I want to leave you with this thought. Every single person in the Bible who was greatly used by God went through a significant waiting season. Moses waited 40 years in the desert before leading Israel out of Egypt. David waited years between his anointing and his throne. Paul waited 3 years in Arabia before beginning his ministry. Even Jesus waited 30 years before starting his public ministry. If waiting was part of their journey, why would we expect it to be absent from ours? The question isn't whether you'll have to wait, you will. The question is what kind of person you'll become while you're waiting. So here's my challenge to you today. Instead of asking God to end your waiting season, ask Him to help you maximize it. Ask Him to show you what He's building in you. Ask Him for eyes to see the growth that's happening beneath the surface. Ask Him for strength to hold the plank position just a little longer, knowing that every second is making you stronger. Your waiting season is not a punishment. It's not a mistake. It's not God forgetting about you. It's a spiritual gym where God is building strength in you that will serve you for the rest of your life. The resilience you're developing, the faith you're building, the character that's being forged. These are gifts that can only be unwrapped in the waiting room, so be encouraged today. You're not stuck, you're being strengthened. You're not forgotten, you're being formed. You're not wasting time. You're being prepared for something that requires the strength you're building right now. Before we close, I want to hear from you. What waiting season are you in right now, and what is God teaching you through it? Drop a comment below and let's encourage each other, because remember, we don't wait alone. We wait together, and together, we grow stronger.